What is up, guys? We are live, back for another live stream. Been trying to do these pretty much once a month. I think, keep me honest, but I think I've been doing a pretty good job of staying on a decent schedule there. Very lucky to announce that this time, this live stream, we've hit 3,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm super pumped about it. Thank you to everyone that has watched any video, that is gonna watch any video, has liked, commented, any of that stuff. I just love talking movies, so I'm glad you guys are here and kind of somewhat find me entertaining, maybe. So the film community has been awesome on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to keeping it up and running for as long as you guys keep watching my stuff. So thank you again for 3,000 subscribers. And I thought, what better time than right now to do a little bit of a movie live talk? We haven't done one since I think late August. I think I went over the movies I'm looking forward to the most. So it was definitely time to do another chat. So start firing off some movie questions or whatnot. And if no one shows up, I'll just kind of babble about what I've been watching recently because with October swinging around and a lot of horror releases and everything, I have been watching a lot of horror movies. Um, but we'll just run over to the chat really quick and see what's happening over there. Um, Horror Cool Reviews. Thank you for stopping in. I doubt you're here now because this seems like it was left a little while ago, but really appreciate this and the kind words. You run a great channel yourself. I'm always watching your reviews, so appreciate it. And, looking forward to seeing what you've got in store in the future as well. Charlie's over here. What's going on, man? How are you? Love seeing you pop into here. Any plans to see the Taylor Swift movie? So, me personally, no. I'm not a massive Taylor Swift fan by any means. Um, I think she makes some good music. She definitely has some bangers, and she's a fantastic businesswoman. Not really my cup of tea. I just know I would get annoyed with everyone jumping around and basically recreating a midsummer circle at the front of the theater while it's going on. So I don't think I'm going to be going. Next time you'll see me at the theater is later this week or next week, I guess, for Killers of the Flower Moon, which obviously cannot wait for. Joshua's in here. Congratulations on 3,000 subs. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, no, honestly, it's like it's one of those things that goes back and forth. Like it feels like I just started the channel, but then I look back and I think I've been doing it for like almost exactly 2 years now. So kind of funny how time flies that way. But no, I appreciate it. And thank you for hopping in here. What do you think is a good movie by a bad director? Oh, this is a really good question. So I'll say one that I think of right off the bat, and I think your mileage may vary on this answer depending on who you ask and whatnot. But if you're one of those people, I'm kind of on the fence about this, but if you're one of those people that thinks Michael Bay isn't that great of a director, I enjoy the hell out of Pain and Gain. Anyone that knows me personally knows that I love that movie. I just think it's much more in his wheelhouse. It's one film where his style really just fits. It's zany, over the top characters that aren't supposed to be taken very seriously. Lots of explosions, which is his shit, obviously, and all of that stuff that we kind of make fun of him for doing in excess was kind of necessary in Pain and Gain. You throw that together with, you know, the cast being The Rock, Wahlberg, and Anthony Mackie, and it's a blast of a movie. It's very entertaining. So that's probably my answer that I can think of right now, the best one. I don't know that I would call him a bad director, but I'd have to think on that for a more legitimate answer to that. Thoughts on the new Exorcist movie? I thought it was awful. They wasted the moment from the original movie. Yeah, so it was a very mixed bag for me. I didn't even end up reviewing it, which should tell you everything you need to know. I got back from the theater after seeing that, I think a couple days early. I think I saw it on like the Tuesday of when it was coming out. And I mind you, I just rewatched the original right before that, which didn't do this new one any favors. I'm sure you can imagine. It was just kind of dull. I thought the first hour was fine, but much more than a demonic exorcism movie. It was way more of like the fears of losing a child out in the world and them being missing more than anything else. It honestly kind of felt like a cheap version of Prisoners. The biggest downside or the biggest bummer of the movie is that I thought the 2 girls that were possessed did a really good job. I think it can be kinda tough to pull off something like that and not seem, like, cringy as hell. Like, you can't half-ass being possessed or else the audience is gonna see right through it. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. David Gordon Green, I feel like he's kinda all over the place for me right now. Um I am a Halloween Ends defender, so take that for what you will. Um, but I don't think he should go forward with this Exorcist trilogy. And I think I already heard that even if they do move forward with the next 2 movies, that he's done with them. But I don't know. Is Morbius your favorite movie? Yes. That was a quick one. Congrats on 3,000. You definitely deserve it. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. And it's from people like you always popping in here and chatting with my dumb ass. So I appreciate it. Last Crusade, majorly over Raiders. Well, you can see the little sliver of the Raiders. Oh, that's Top Gun. The little sliver of the Raiders poster over there. So I think you know that I do not agree with you. Do I think on some days they're pretty close though? Definitely. So I think Sean Connery being cast as Indy's father was like one of the best castings in a sequel I've ever seen in my entire life. Like their chemistry is just insane. It works so effortlessly. Um, I loved the story of like this kind of wild goose chase, not only to get the Holy Grail, but to find his father that he's kind of estranged from. I think Raiders, just being the original, it just has so much going for it. Like there's a little bit of every genre packed in there. There's action, there's comedy, there's horror, there's romance, there's drama, there's everything. Not saying that Last Crusade doesn't do that, but for me, it's just Raiders. Like I just really think like you have to respect the OG. But I do have a lot of fun with Last Crusade. And like I said, if you ask me on a certain day, maybe I say they're neck and neck. But I don't know if I'll ever say Last Crusade is better than Raiders. But I'm glad you love it because they're both awesome movies and they are like the pinnacle of Hollywood blockbusters, if you ask me. Khalil dropping by just to say what's up. What's up, Khalil? Glad you're in here, man. Appreciate you stopping by. And I think I saw a couple of your reviews lately. I'm trying to think. I just watched one of yours that I'm blanking on now. I'm gonna have to double check which it was. It might have been for the creator, but keep pumping those out, man. I love watching your stuff. You've got good thoughts. So, do you think? What do you think is a bad movie with a good sequel? Oh man. Um, I don't know if this is kind of cheating because I kind of said this already, and it's a little bit of a controversial pick. I don't like Halloween Kills. I am one of those, it seems, rare people that defends Halloween Ends. So maybe I'll say Halloween Ends, but Halloween Kills was already a sequel, so I don't know if that kind of disqualifies it from this question. You are coming in with some heavy hitters tonight. I'm gonna need to think about that, like that, and the one before about a bad director making a good movie. I need to think about that because those are both very solid. Um, Top three from the '90s. Oh my god! All right, I'm gonna have to pull up my. I'm gonna have to pull up my letterbox here. Odd. So I think I would have to say Pulp Fiction, True Romance, maybe Boogie Nights. I think that might be the 3 that I'm rolling with. Don't quote me on it, and like I said, my answer might change this time tomorrow, but I guess for right now, I'll roll with Boogie Nights, Pulp Fiction, True Romance. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. That kinda that covers a lot of ground there. It's a lot of Tarantino, but, I'll stick with that for now, but that's a tough answer. You're putting me on the spot there. Luke Ponto, my man Luke is in here. Says, "What's up, my man? Congrats on 3K, buddy." Thank you, dude. Really appreciate it. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it's just been a blast being on here talking movies, and you know, you've been a part of that. I've had fun doing that with you on your channel too. So thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Rank your top 35 episodes of The Office in descending order. I would. Unfortunately, I only like talking about my favorite 40 episodes of The Office, so I won't bore you for right now, but we'll get on that. Dude, so I have not done this. I would go to Disney in Florida. I always forget if that's Disneyland or Disney World. I'm pretty sure that's World. I don't know if they have the Indiana Jones there too, but I haven't done that since I was like a kid. We did a lot of family trips when I was younger. I loved it, but I haven't been to Disney in a long ass time. I've said for a while that I want to go back kind of like as a adult now that I'm over 21. I know that there's like some other fun stuff to do there as an adult. Also wouldn't mind building a lightsaber. I'd be lying if I said I haven't like picked out all the exact pieces I'm already going to put together of what I want it to look like. So I definitely want to do that, but I have not ridden it. Um, but I definitely need to make a point to get to Disney at some point again in the future, probably the next couple of years. Anyone else behind on Marvel like me? I have no idea where to restart. Well, Charlie, it kind of depends on where you stopped. I I have not seen the first 2 episodes of Loki. I've heard it's good. I still think the first season of Loki is probably the best Disney Plus Marvel show that they've given us, so I have nothing against it. I definitely want to check out the new season, um, but kind of depends on where you left off. I don't know. I'm not far back. Like I literally, I'm super out of the loop on the Star Wars stuff. I don't, unfortunately, even though I'm a massive Star Wars fan, I don't really have too much of an interest on catching up on that. But when it comes to Marvel, I'm only 2 episodes back on Loki. So I watched Saw X in theaters today and it's so freaking good. Dude, I am a massive Saw fan. I was away when the last one came out, or their newest one, Saw X. Have not seen it yet. Have heard nothing but good things, but it's killing me. I my fiance's car has been in the shop for like over a week. So I've been letting her use my car. So I haven't had a chance to like get my butt over to the movies. On top of that, I've just been pretty busy with weekends lately. So I haven't gotten a chance to see it. I need to make sure I see it on the big screen, but I'm glad you really dig it. They've always been, a pleasure of mine. Growing up, I watched the hell out of them. I got to think about which one was actually my favorite. I think it would have to be one or two. Um, but yeah, I definitely got to make sure I see Saw 10. I also liked Halloween Ends. In my opinion, it wasn't that great, but it wasn't bad as people were saying. I liked how they wrapped up Jamie's character. Don't fear the Reaper. Yeah, I don't know. And I think there's like an interesting idea there around like Michael Myers infecting the town of Haddonfield so badly that a new killer is emerging. Um, I don't know if they should have done it in the movie that was going to wrap up the entire Laurie Strode Michael Myers confrontation. That probably was not a good idea. I'll give them that, but I think that's just like a cool idea behind that. So I'm still rolling with that. I think it's a fun movie, and my score keeps going up every time I rewatch it. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times now, and keeps going up. Here's a good movie that people say is from a bad director, The Sixth Sense from M. Night Shyamalan. That's a great pick. I don't know why I didn't think of M. Night Shyamalan because the stuff that I've seen out of him lately, in my opinion, have been stinkers. I am not a fan of Knock at the Cabin. I don't like Old. I think the last thing he did that I really dug was like Split, because everyone kind of likes Split. But I also didn't mind The Visit. I didn't mind The Visit either. That's not a bad one. A TV show with only one bad season. Oh, that's kinda tough too, because like, it takes a turn and gets way better for the rest of its duration. Um, this might not be the kind of answer you're looking for, it's not like a heavy drama or something, but I think Parks and Rec is a great show, but I think the first season is super hard to get into. It's very slow, not a ton happens, it's pretty clunky, and it really finds its footing after that first season and becomes like a show that I laughed at almost as much as The Office. Um, so I'll probably lock in that as an answer. I would need to think of something that's a legitimate drama, but as of right now, Parks and Rec, that first season is a little tough. Then it gets way better. Name 4 TV characters that is your nightmare road trip. Here are mine: Negan from The Walking Dead, the dad from That 70s Show, Chandler Bing from Friends, and Rachel Green from Friends. Oh man. Okay. This is tough. I'm trying to think of like characters that are annoying as hell or that I hated. One, if you're a Lost fan, I probably would say like Michael from Lost. All he does is scream the name Walt over and over and over again, looking for his kid. You know he'd be doing that in the passenger seat all day long. Trying to think of who else would fit into that pretty well. Let's see. Kind of have a good article here. Um, I don't know, like Andy Bernard from The Office, he would be either awful or fantastic. You can kind of decide. So I guess I'll stick him in there. Um, who else? Who's kind of a downer? Maybe what's the acapella guy? Ted from Scrubs comes to mind. And no. Maybe the wife in Breaking Bad. I don't know, something like that. That'd be quite the road trip. I'll stick with that. But Tony coming in here with the $5 super chat. My man, thank you so much. He says, "Congrats on hitting 3K, my dude. You inspire me to be a better YouTuber every day. Onward to 300K." Jesus, you could have at least said like 10K or 30K. No, I really appreciate it, Tony. The feeling is mutual. You've been killing it with the videos lately. Um, yeah, no, man, it's a grind, but I know you feel the same way that like we have to make these videos because everyone else in our personal life is just like sick of us hearing talk about movies. So I'd be having these same conversations even if I didn't have a YouTube channel, but it would be like with the wall because everyone's sick of hearing me. Um, but no, that's really thoughtful of you. I appreciate you sending in a $5 super chat, and looking forward to seeing you hit 3K soon too. I think you've got to be pretty close. So let's keep getting it, man. Hurt Mind, it says, "Congrats." Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Really appreciate all the love in here tonight and everyone talking movies. Game of Thrones season 8. Yeah, it's a pretty good example. I think you could make the argument that season 7 was already a little bit heading towards a downward trajectory. I don't know if I'd call it bad, but once they kind of surpassed where the books were and we knew the writers were kind of grasping at straws, trying to figure out what to do. Um, it wasn't really headed down the right path. I think we'll just leave it at that. We'll say it nicely. But regardless, I think if you ask a lot of people, that might be a really good answer. Game of Thrones season 8. Say something nice about Mel Gibson. Hell of a performance in Chicken Run. Do you collect Funko Pops? So I don't know. Like, how many would you qualify as being a collection? Like, let's see, I have some over there. I think I might have like 10, 10 total. but they're all ones that I really like. Like, I'm not like a collector that's gonna just buy whatever I see at the store if I don't have any kind of emotional attachment to it or anything. Like, I have a Conan O'Brien. I've been a huge Conan fan for as long as I've been alive. An Indiana Jones, obviously, a John Cena Peacemaker, a Luke Skywalker with Yoda on his back, a Samwise Gamgee, um, an Endgame Captain America. I have one of the massive Vegeta, um, one of the massive Vegeta ape form Funko Pops, which is like the favorite one, my favorite one that I own. And I have like a Mr. Meeseeks. Um, I'll bring over, you know what? The camera's like not in a place where I can rotate it. I will get the Vegeta one just because it's my favorite. I think that one's great. This is the Vegeta one. Love this one. I think is massive. Um, I'm just a big Dragon Ball guy, so had to pick that up. I don't think it was very cheap. I spent a pretty penny on that one, but yeah, I love that. I like during the pandemic, I massively got into Dragon Ball, DBZ, Super as well. Pretty much spammed my way through the entire series because I mean, nothing else was going on in the world, so I just used it to sit on my ass and watch a ton of anime. So I really wasn't one of those people that was watching it from a young age, but just forced myself to start watching it, loved it, and then, obviously, like all the Giga Chads on the planet, my favorite character became Vegeta. Love Krillin too. He's my guy as well, but, you know, have to give props to the King of the Saiyans there. Prince of the Saiyans. What do you think is a TV show that has the worst final season? I mean, you might have said it with Game of Thrones season 8. I am trying to think of something that went so downhill. Like, um, one thing I'll just take a stab at. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think that it is, but Black Mirror was a show that I absolutely loved. It was just banger upon banger of seasons coming out at like a rapid fire pace. I think those have kind of hit a wall recently, even though that's not like a narrative show, so it might not be that good of an answer. But um, I think the quality has definitely gone downwards with those. But yeah, that if I'm looking for something that's more of like a serial type of show, not narrative, or follows a linear storyline. But Game of Thrones season 8 is probably a pretty good answer. What you said. Drew's in the house. What's going on, Drew? How are you? Oh, he started following me on Instagram. Drew, you beast of a man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have a DVD collection? So I don't have it like at my house here. I definitely had a bunch of DVDs that are still in my dad's basement over in his house. I had some cool stuff. It was like well before Blu-ray. So like, obviously the Blu-rays and the 4Ks get all of the awesome steelbook treatments and everything like that. Um, but before that, they did a bunch of cool shit for DVDs. So I had like the original Jurassic World trilogy that had like an awesome steel embossed velociraptor cover that was sick. I should pull that out. Like that's worth displaying, even though it's DVD, and I don't really watch DVDs anymore. But and another one for Terminator 2 Judgment Day was like this awesome steel book T800 cover that they put on that. That was always a fan favorite. But no, I mean, so I do have a DVD collection, none that I can like show off. They're all bin at my dad's house. I'll have to go raid through that and see if there's any worth kind of bringing over to my house now. But at a time, when it was what was out, like I'm sure I have a CD-ROM music collection somewhere too, just because that's what the format was back then. I don't think I actually finished How I Met Your Mother. Like I caught up to it. and then the ninth season hadn't come out yet, and then I kind of fell off. Um, take that as you will, but for some reason, I didn't really like. I really liked the show at its height, but for some reason, I wasn't hooked enough to watch that ending season. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. I know some people didn't like it though. So even though I haven't seen it myself, it's probably not a bad answer. Charlie's heading out. Lovely talking to you too as well, dude. Thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate you coming through. You always show up for these live streams. You love these live streams, so I appreciate always having you to talk to whenever I do one of these. Definitely appreciated. But yeah, so I mean, what's everyone been watching lately? I have to say, with this news of I really wanted A24 to get the rights for Halloween. Obviously, we know that ended up being Miramax outbid them, but because of all that in the news, I've been rewatching a lot of the Halloween franchise. I've kind of been going back from the beginning, rewatching ones that I've only seen maybe like once just to see like, do I like these ones? Are they underrated? Are my thoughts different from the first time that I saw them? And I do think they are. I don't know if anyone in here is that into the Halloween franchise, but Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, kind of gets shit talked a little bit. That's a decent entry. I'll say that. I've always been watching the John Carpenter show on Peacock. It's really decent. So I haven't watched that yet. I definitely want to, just because I heard that John Carpenter himself came out of retirement to finally direct like one episode, right? And I think it's an anthology series, if I'm not mistaken, which is cool. I go back and forth just because anthology series were like weren't done for a while. Then everyone and their mother was making one, um, and it kind of became not cool again. But I mean, John Carpenter, how am I going to say no to that? So, The Thing is my favorite horror movie all time. It's a top 5 movie for me all time. So definitely going to check that out. But haven't seen it yet. Glad you're enjoying it. Thoughts on Halloween H2O? 20 years later. I think it's really fun. Yeah, no, I definitely dig that one. It is definitely up there with the best of them for me. Take that for what you will, because some of those movies are so all over the map that like saying it's in the top half doesn't really say that much if the bottom half are all utter shit. And there's definitely some of them that aren't that good, but I think H2O is legitimately a good Halloween movie for sure. It's definitely a lot of fun, like you said. Rewatching or watching all the Friends episodes online. Yeah, I never got into Friends massively. My fiance had a kick where she was obsessed with watching it, so I kind of watched it vicariously through her, or maybe just in passing. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, or I think I don't know. You didn't say if you are, but I hope you're enjoying it. Goosebumps, or Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, so I read a lot of the the Goosebumps books as a kid. I know that Disney Plus has that new Goosebumps series out, and I've heard from a couple people that it's pretty solid. I haven't watched it at all myself, but I've heard it's solid. I want to check it out. You have to let me know if you think it's good, if you think it's up to snuff, if you're a Goosebumps fan. Like Jamie filming the ending of H2O knowing it wasn't the last one, I would have been so pissed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a business, right? Like you have to know, especially with like a horror franchise, like a slasher horror franchise of all things, like the end is never the end. Like these things just continue to keep going. So she should have known in the back of her head that it was not even close to the last time that she was going to be appearing as Laurie Strode, because those movies kept going on and on. And like I just said, someone new has the rights now, so it ain't stopping. I doubt she's gonna be involved, but I mean, I don't know. Never say never. Like you said, like she thought that one was the last one too. So who knows? But you know, we'll see. I hope they're good. That's all I really care about is I hope they're good. I always said I was leaving, yet I'm still here, dude. Charlie, you can't leave. You can leave in like an hour when I'm signing off. That's when I'll allow it. But dude, they're around. They're around. They're sniping horror franchises. They said they want to turn Halloween into a their own cinematic universe, which again, kind of like an anthology series, is something that was super cool like 5 or 6 years ago, and now it's like everyone and their mother's trying to do one, so it's not as cool anymore. But you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, look, if they I'm worried just because they know Michael Myers is the selling point, obviously. But we know back in the day, John Carpenter wanted Halloween to be an anthology series, right? Like he never wanted Michael Myers to be like the villain, like the overarching villain of the franchise. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like they're probably not gonna turn it into the anthology series that he wanted it to be originally. But I don't know. I'm rooting for him. Thoughts on the Purge series as a whole? There might have been like one that I missed. First one I dug with like Ethan Hawke, I think it was, right? I really like Ethan Hawke. Next few were just like kind of getting crazy, but they're like enjoyable for what they were. You knew what you were getting yourself into. And then I feel like I think the Forever Purge was the last one I'd seen, and it was like one of the worst movies of that year. So I wasn't too big of a fan of that one, I don't think. But you'll have to let me know. Like, have they gotten better? Are there any that you're like really, really digging? Other than like the first one, because I know obviously everyone's gonna say like the first was the best one, probably. Um, but unless there's more than any like if there was any more after the Forever Purge, I think I'm out of the loop a little bit on it. But um yeah, the last one was eh. I don't even know. Are there any more planned? Like I can't remember if there's any that they've announced that are coming out, or if they're turning it into like a TV series, which I like wouldn't put past them, obviously. Um, but I think it's okay for like mindless entertainment. I obviously don't mind. I don't mind the Purge franchise as a whole, but what do you think are some movies that you think are perfect for spooky season? Um, I'd have to think. So, I mean, like, I really do think I watched The Thing from John Carpenter um, every time it's Halloween. Obviously, Halloween 1978. I'm a big Friday the 13th guy, for better or for worse. So, some of those I'll watch. Um, but I'm trying to think of like movies I've seen recently that it's just like such a good. Well, okay, I'll say this. Um, I just binged through, and you guys might have seen my review for it last week, but I just binged through the new Mike Flanagan Netflix show, The Fall of the House of Usher. I don't think it was his best series. I think it was still really good. I'm a Hill House, Haunting of Hill House purist over here, so that's my favorite from him. But it was still really good. And since it's all gothic horror with Edgar Allan Poe stuff mixed in, obviously, because that's what it's based off of, I think that's a really good spooky season watch. And you can watch it with people that aren't like obsessed with horror genre stuff. Um, I didn't find any of it particularly scary, but there's some good unsettling, creepy stuff in it. Really nice ambiance and visuals and tone that I think will like get you ready to hand out some candy. I'll tell you that. Um, Trying to think of other good spooky season movies. I don't know. Kinda like this is a little bit of a curveball, the first Hotel Transylvania, kinda dig that. If you're going for a classic, though, maybe like Young Frankenstein, that always gets me right in the October Halloween mood, even though it's a comedy, obviously, but that's a killer movie. So I'll say that. Remember enjoying the first 2 Purges? Yeah, I don't know. I think I did enjoy them too for what they're worth. I'll tell you this, what I'm getting excited about is that trilogy of Strangers movies that they're releasing all next year. 3 new movies about the Strangers, or maybe it's a spin-off sequel, I don't know, all coming out in 2024. Um, I think The Strangers that came out, like, what, 2008 or something? Kind of an underrated horror movie, home invasion horror movie. I remember that kind of was during my formative years growing up, so that kind of shaped a little bit of, like, how I got into the horror genre. That's a damn good movie. That had some good shock value in it, and that stuck with people for a reason. So, also, The Strangers, that sequel that came out, not that long after. I think it's called The Strangers Pray at Night. That is solid. I think it just went direct to video. It might not even made it to theaters. That was solid, especially when you see the pool scene in that movie. Let me know if you watch that because I think that's pretty good. Here's a question I know the answer to. What's your favorite shark movie? Yes. You know the answer to this already. But if you need me to say it, it is definitely Jaws. Um, I think the most interesting or the more interesting question here is like, what's your second favorite shark movie? And I'm a little torn on that. I think it would have to be either it's either Deep Blue Sea or the first Meg movie. Like, I'm one of those people that really enjoyed the first Meg movie with Jason Statham. Have it on 4K Steelbook, for God's sakes. I just think that's a really fun shark movie. It's the first shark movie that I think really like embraced how goofy it all can be, how funny it can all be, over the top action stuff. Like, Jaws is what you go to if you want to never go into the water at the beach ever again. But the Meg's just like mindless, an hour and a half, hour 45 fun. Deep Blue Sea has some craziness in there too. Some of the comedy in that one is not intentional, but like especially when Samuel L. Jackson's character meets his demise. But I'd say that rounds out the top 3 for me. Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, the first Meg movie. Not the second Meg movie. I'll stop you right there. That was like one of my least favorite films of the entire year this year. That was like a shark movie without sharks. Utter crap. That was Chum. I'll be topical. That was Chum. Remember they had a Purge show on USA years ago. Yeah, I never watched it. I don't even think I've ever even had USA in my entire life. I think that's one of those. That's one of those ones like that you had to pay for, right? Like was that like a Showtime? Um, it's- um, uh, I never watched it. Um, but I mean, I don't even know if you said you liked it. Did you say you liked it? I have no idea, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of a way forward there is with the Purge franchise. We'll see. I mean, we might have seen everything. The Strangers Pray at Night did go to theaters. Okay. Yeah, no, man. I think it's a good sequel. That must have made like no box office dollars. Like, I don't know. I could be completely wrong about this, but there's no way. There's no way it did anything too big, but it was a good sequel. It definitely like should be seen by people. Tell you that. Top 3 movies from the 1930s. Go, huh? Rules of the Game, Gone with the Wind, and Wizard of Oz. There you go. Some movie franchises with only one good movie. Tough. I have to think. First thing that comes to mind is like the only one with two good movies is probably like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like the first two movies there are awesome, and then it kind of takes a little bit of a nosedive. But movie franchises with only one good movie. I don't know. I mean, you could make the case that like the only great movie in the entire Fast and the Furious franchise is Fast 5. Like, I think Fast 5, I don't know what happened. Somehow it all just worked. They all came to play and decided they wanted to make an actual good movie. But, and that's not to say that I hate the rest of the franchise, but I mean, it's all schlock. Fast 5 is literally one of the best action movies of the 2000s. Like, it's really good. That finale of them, driving the cars with the bank vault being pulled in the back through the streets of Rio is like, it'll be burned in my brain until the day I die. And if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. The Rock is really good in that movie because he wasn't too big to play the antagonist. Um, Once he got too famous and he had to be the good guy all the time, things kind of changed for me, but that role was the sweet spot for me. So I don't know, maybe I'll go with Fast 5 in the Fast saga. And then if you ever asked that same question about two good movies, like I said, maybe the Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't remember if I liked the third one or not, but maybe the Pirates franchise. Oh, come on, Charlie. You're killing me. Charlie's actually leaving this time. Have a good week. Thanks for stopping in, Charlie. Always love having you in these chats. I mean, look, I've told you this 3 times now. I think you just like me saying this. I don't even know if you're actually even gonna leave. You just like doing this to me. But appreciate you stopping by, man. Always love having you in the chat. Yeah, so I think as of right now, I'm caught up on the chat, pending, any questions popping up immediately. Um, But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Might be a good time to talk about what movies everyone's looking forward to that are coming out in the next couple weeks. Obviously, we have Killers of the Flower Moon dropping this Friday. It is not every day that a new Scorsese movie comes out. And let me tell you, we might not be getting that many more of them. He's getting old, man. He's old. So it's like, could be a national holiday next Friday, if you ask me. But so we got that coming out. I've heard good things from a couple of my buddies that have seen it, heard really good things. I mean, come on. We know everyone involved in that project from front to back. They're all heavy hitters. All they do is make good films pretty much. So I would be shocked if that one wasn't solid. It's 3.5 hours long, so I wouldn't buy the big gulp for this one, or else you're going to be missing parts of the movie. But it I'm sure it's gonna be people love throwing out this word because Scorsese loves saying this word too. I'm sure it's gonna be cinema. You know that it's gonna be. So I can't wait to see that. Changing complete gears from Killers of the Flower Moon, though, is the following week. I will be seeing and am very excited about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, could it suck? 150%. It could suck. And I'm worried that it will. Because I don't know if you guys pay attention to this. I don't know if you guys have seen this at all. If you guys even know what like the review embargo is really, but the review embargo is like all these people from the press see these movies and they can't talk about them publicly and give reviews until like X date before the movie. If the review embargo is super close to the release date of a movie, it is a bad sign. That means they like don't want any negative press coming out for the movie until it's basically being shown. Like they don't want it to affect ticket sales negatively. Well, I don't know if it was an error or not, but the um the review embargo for Five Nights at Freddy's was 7 hours after the movie comes out. I don't know if I've ever seen that ever, man. Like the public can just go see it and there's no reviews out for it yet. Like I don't know if I've ever seen that in my entire life. Um, but I think they changed it. They made it like a day earlier, but like what the hell? That is not a good sign. So like I said, I was looking forward to that movie. That was one of my most anticipated movies for the rest of the year. And I'm like, I don't know now. That doesn't fare well. So I don't know if that's going to be good or not. But we'll see. So, holding out hope. I mean, like, I don't know. There's more ways that it's bad than it's good, but yeah, no. I guess we'll see. I mess up the camera. It's all out of focus. There we go. Oh, I missed one from you. I haven't got a release date yet, and I don't know if this is actually happening. But supposedly, there's a Thomas and Friends movie coming out, and if it happens, I really want to see it. I love that show since I believe forever. Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything about that. Um, no, but I mean, I don't know if we're talking about like early childhood shows that are being adapted to like movies and later on, much later on in life, years and years later. I don't know how it did, but I'm sure the Paw Patrol movie did pretty well, right? So when it comes to that kind of stuff, if that did well, I'm sure Thomas and Friends movie is happening. I'd be surprised if it didn't. But Cardboard Mouse's Arcade. Can you shout out my son Poe? He has watched you since day one. Well, Poe, thank you for watching me since day one. I don't have that many subscribers, so that's a big deal to me. Really appreciate you watching, and I hope you keep watching and keep liking my stuff because I'm addicted to this movie stuff. I can't stop talking about it, so I'm not going to stop putting reviews out. But really appreciate it for you watching, and hopefully we get a bunch more videos out before the end of the year, and you can get in one of these live streams one of these days. So thank you, Poe. Appreciate it. Let me pull up the IMDb calendar just because I'm thinking like, what else is coming up? Because there's definitely some good stuff. Um, oh, how can I forget The Killer? The Killer. David Fincher's The Killer with Michael Fassbender. Not gonna lie, I've heard some wishy-washy stuff on it a little bit. Um, ahead of its release on Netflix, but coming out of like some of the festivals and that kind of circuit. Um, I've heard some stuff, but um, yeah, no, that's one. I mean, like a combination like that. How do we let that slip by? I mean, come on. I wish it wasn't going straight to Netflix. I think there's like a week where it's showing in theaters, but yeah, that's one that I definitely am very, very excited for. I mean, how could I not be? I'm sure Priscilla's gonna be good. That's How Do You Mess with a Sofia Coppola film? Gonna have to watch that. Um, I don't know where I stand with the Marvels. I'm still kind of figuring that out. I heard it's the shortest Marvel movie ever, and I heard it's the most expensive Marvel movie ever. I have no idea if that's true. I actually didn't look it up myself, but everyone's saying that. It was on the internet, so it must be true, right? We'll see how that ends up. Kind of curious to see where the ticket sales end up for that and what the box office ends up looking like. But I'll obviously still see it, but I don't know how that one's going to fare. Holdovers, Paul Giamatti comes out after that. That is what I'm definitely looking forward to. I haven't really seen a trailer for that or anything, kind of staying away, but I've heard some very good buzz. Paul Giamatti is always really good. I can't even remember the last thing I've seen him in though. I feel like it's been a little bit since he's been in the limelight, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Um, Thanksgiving, I'll probably watch the what's his name? Eli Roth slasher about Thanksgiving. So the one holiday there's probably not enough slashers about. So you knew that was bound to happen. What about Loki season 2? Are you watching? So I haven't watched the first two episodes. I'm not like burnt out or anything, but for some reason I just haven't rushed to go and watch them. And I have nothing against it. I definitely will watch it. I still think I stand by that the first season of Loki is still the best MCU Disney Plus show that we've gotten. Um, I think, and I've said this for a while now, I think Tom Hiddleston is the best actor that the MCU currently has at their disposal, maybe has ever had at their disposal. I think Hiddleston is awesome. Um, he is a true actor in every sense of the word. His performance as Loki is always like basically like Shakespeare. It's so nuanced and everything. Um, so nothing against the character, nothing against the show. I will get around to watching it. I just haven't caught up on those first 2 episodes yet. I've heard good things, heard pretty solid things. Nothing I don't think like world changing or earth shattering, but I'll definitely get around to watching it. Like I said, I think the first season was great. Definitely the best Marvel show content we've gotten on Disney Plus, but have not gotten around to watching the first 2 episodes. It'll be interesting to kind of see where it progresses. I've heard like, I mean, obviously everyone's theories are all over the map, right? Like that this is going to end and lead directly into Deadpool 3 or the events that happen in Deadpool 3. No idea if that's true or not. We'll have to see as it gets, further into the show, but there's a lot of places they could take it. I mean, come on, these guys are like the timeline police. So I mean, mix that with Marvel multiverse stuff. They could tell literally any story they want to tell. If any of those stories are up to snuff and like really, really good, that still remains to be seen, heading into the future. This is kind of like the most unknown phase for Marvel we've ever experienced, but the possibilities are endless. If phase 1, 2, and 3 are any indication, it could be really good. If phase 4 is any indication, I don't know. Like, I really think maybe like the only great movies they've put out since phase 4 started are like Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Guardians 3. I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing any. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, there's so many different ways they could take it. The amount of comic stories out there they could pull from is legitimately endless. I'm a massive Fantastic Four guy, though. I'll say that. I think Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and Batman are the 3 superheroes I've read the most comics of. I cannot wait for them to introduce Fantastic Four. I'm chomping at the bit to see who they have cast in all of those roles. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't know. I am worried about the Daredevil show. I know we just saw that entire thing got scrapped because they didn't like what was going on with it. It was more of a legal drama than a Daredevil show, and he doesn't even show up in the uniform until episode 4. Between you and me, that doesn't sound that bad. I mean, I don't think he even showed up in the full getup for a while in the original Netflix Marvel show. And this will show you kind of how worried I am, right? Because of how near and dear I hold this character in that show. I'll get off. I'll take the Loki banner off because I don't want to confuse anyone thinking I'm talking about Loki. But I think you could make the argument, definitely on TV, but I think in general, you could make the argument that like the Daredevil show on Netflix is like the best thing that Marvel's ever put out, like on TV or film. The character development in that is killer. The action's unbelievable. The set design, the costumes, like everything is just unbelievable. Great acting, really awesome performances. People really embody those roles. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they can ever top that. So because you know how much I like that Netflix version of the show, I'm very worried about a continuation. I honestly wish, like, why don't you just bring on absolutely everybody that worked on the Netflix version? Like, they started from scratch. This is a great opportunity. Bring all those people back. Cosmic Broadcast is in here. What is up, dude? Great to see you here. Thank you so much for stopping in. It says Netflix Daredevil is peak, absolute perfection. Couldn't have said it better myself. You know, I basically rambled on for 10 minutes about it. Could have just said those 6 words right there. Netflix Daredevil's peak, absolute perfection. Completely agree with you. Congrats on 3K, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being a part of that too. Well deserved. Who would you like to see casted as the Fantastic Four? Dude, this is tough. This is really tough. I think I had a list. Did I have a list? I don't know if I did. I'll say this right off the bat. I think one of the best casting rumors going around was Jason Segel as Ben Grimm in The Thing. Um, I think Jason Segel would be awesome in that role. I think that they kind of like came out and said that that's not true. That was just a rumor, but I think Jason Segel or like no, I'm not even saying another name. Jason Segel, I think would be great in that. Um, I know that they're saying Joseph Quinn for the Human Torch. I actually feel like I liked the Joe Keery rumor better. Um, but I don't know if he's like my ultimate pick. I think I said even for a while there that like I wouldn't even minded like you kind of need like a hothead, like a cocky hothead in that. I wouldn't even mind like he might be too old now, but I wouldn't even mind like Zach Efron. Like Zach Efron is the Human Torch. People might scoff at that. I think he'd actually be pretty decent. Um, Invisible Woman. That is pretty tough. Um, I know I think like the front runner right now is like Vanessa Kirby. I've heard that a lot. Um, but and I do think she'd do a good job. You know, I've always enjoyed her and seeing her and stuff, and she's done well those last couple Mission Impossible films. But that's a tough one to cast. I don't know who I'd put in there. So I don't know. That's a tough one, man. And then Mr. Fantastic himself. I don't really want Krasinski. I don't think that's a possibility, but I don't really want Krasinski. Um, I really don't mind the Adam Driver pick. Like whether he's good, whether he's perfect for that role or not. I'm such a massive Adam Driver guy that I just want to see him in anything. Um, I know there are rumors going around that he might even be Doom, but I'm assuming after what happened with the Star Wars sequels that he's trying to stay out of big budget blockbuster franchise villain roles. I don't know that for sure. Obviously, I mean, who knows? Maybe he does. Maybe he does take the role of Doctor Doom. Who knows? But I think after the whole Star Wars situation as Kylo Ren, I think he might rather be a hero. In which case, I'll happily take him as Mr. Fantastic. Like, I feel like anyone would be lucky to have a guy with that kind of acting chops leading that franchise. So, who knows what happens, but I like it. Pete's in here. Peter Frost. He says, "Hi there. What's up, Pete? How are you? Congrats. Thank you very much. Daredevil has action sequences that remind me of Old Boy 2003 in The Raid. Hope that the Disney version lives up." Yeah, man. I mean, everyone goes back to that hallway fight scene in the Daredevil Netflix show, which is like an unbelievable moment. Not to even mention all the stuff they included when the Punisher got thrown in there. By the way, John Bernthal, I've loved him ever since The Walking Dead. I've seen literally everything he's done since The Walking Dead. He needs to come back as Frank Castle. I know it's been rumored for a long time. I need him back as the Punisher. And that show as well, his standalone show, had great choreography as well and his stuff within Daredevil. Like I think it was in that second season when he had that prison breakout scene with Fisk. Um, Unbelievable fight scene where he's just like in the prison hallways fighting like 20 different thugs at one time. It's a bloody mess, but an absolute glorious sight to see. So completely agree with you. That I hope that the Disney version lives up to that because it is no easy task. I mean, look, I'll say this, not to go on like, and I've already said a couple things about it like a couple minutes ago about the Star Wars sequels when I was bringing up Adam Driver. There's something about Disney not really knowing how to use like weapons properly. Like, I don't think any of the lightsaber battles in the sequels have really like wowed me at all. Like, you'll never get better than the lightsaber fights in the prequel movies. Like, obviously the fight with Maul in Phantom Menace, the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, or even the fight between Anakin and Dooku in Revenge of the Sith, right? Like, that's just like what lightsabers are to me. That'll always be ingrained into my head. I don't know why they didn't just study those and use those as the map for the sequel trilogy, but it's like it is just nothing in comparison. The choreography is awful, I think. So I don't know if I have the most faith in the world that they're going to nail it in this continuation of the Netflix Daredevil show. Um, or I shouldn't even call it continuation because I guess like some people are being recast and some people aren't being involved. Who knows if you want to call it that? But I know it's born again basically, which is a great run of the comic. Um, I feel like the best hand-to-hand combat we've ever seen in a traditional, actual like MCU, like Disney type of thing, um, is Shang-Chi. So I think if Disney already has those people at their disposal, you should 1,000,000% be bringing people that worked on Shang-Chi into this Daredevil show. If I heard that that was happening, then I would have way more faith that they were going to make that happen. Um, or do it well, do it justice. So I really hope they do that. I have no idea if they will, but like I said, if they want those Daredevil hand-to-hand combat scenes to be awesome, like they were in the Netflix show, next best thing you can do, I mean, bring in the original crew, obviously, if you can. If you can't do that, bring in the people that worked on the hand-to-hand combat in Shang-Chi. I think that's a good idea. Sylvester Stallone's best performance. So not his best movie, but his best performance. Um, Let me pull up his filmography. Sylvester Stallone, IMDb. See what we got here. So I'm gonna look on this list and see if there's anything that changes my mind. I feel like right off the bat, if we're just talking about acting, I would probably say like the first Creed movie, he might show like the most wide array of emotions I've ever seen out of a performance from him. Just because he was in a very unique position where like we've known this character already from like 5 or 6 movies previously, and now he's coming back as an old man, and we get to see a different side of him, and he gets to show so much like growth and passion and blah blah blah. So I think that might be his best acting chops being seen on screen. I'm gonna look in here really quick, but I don't think anything's gonna change my mind. No, I'm already back at like Rambo. So I'm gonna go with that first Creed movie. I think he actually shows like a legitimate arc in his performance. And because we've seen this character for decades, we get emotional about the stuff that's happening and the trials and tribulations he's going through in his life. So I'm gonna say the first Creed movie. Disney treats lightsabers like they're glow sticks, not the ultra powerful concentrated plasma energy that they should be. Too many people survive lightsaber injuries in Disney Star Wars. Yes, I completely agree. I mean, like, you look at that injury that Qui Gon suffered from Maul in Phantom Menace during that awesome fight. And there are people, and I haven't seen Ahsoka. So I'm just going to say, you see it on Twitter, everyone bad mouthing everything. People love to complain on Twitter. So I'm only seeing the bad. So I'm not saying it's a bad show. I haven't seen it. So I know I need to watch it if I want to fully judge it. But I'll just say I've seen some of the stuff in Ahsoka where like people get stabbed through the chest or through the stomach with a lightsaber. That's very eerily similar to the way that Qui-Gon got hit. And they're just like next episode, they're like, whoa, what happened? And like they get patched up and they're fine. Um, so yeah, I completely agree that they do not know how to treat these things. Like they're not like these unbelievable, deadly, powerful weapons that we grew up knowing them as in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. I mean, the prequel trilogy, they looked dangerous as hell, man. Like they were look at like we saw a couple beheadings with the flick of a wrist in the prequel trilogy. I mean, like Jango Fett gone at the flick of a wrist. Count Dooku, gone at the flick of a wrist. Like, it does not look like that in the Disney shows or Disney Star Wars as a whole. Um, Hope they get back to figuring that out because God was it cool. Like they just look different to me too. Like I don't know, they look so artificial in Disney owned properties. I don't know what they're doing. If it's all CGI, like if they just have a hilt kind of, I don't even know. But they should go back to the OG stuff they did in the prequel trilogies, like the big stick with the green screen paper wrapped around it, because I always think lightsabers will look their best in that prequel trilogy. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. So I'm pulling up my letterbox and I have a good list for this. I'm a little torn between a couple of them. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'll say this just because I've said this in the past. There's a couple movies that I'm pretty neck and neck about, but just saying one that not everyone is going to be saying, and I loved this one, is the Netflix film They Cloned Tyrone. That has been my number one movie this year for a long time. I don't know if it's going to stay there and stand for the rest of the months until we get 2024 rolling around, but they cloned Tyrone on Netflix. Awesome movie. It was a directorial debut somehow. And it's one of those movies that throws everything into it. There's sci-fi, action, horror, comedy, drama. Everything you could imagine is in that in a 2-hour package and doesn't feel overstuffed or crowded. Great performances. From I think her name is Teyana Paris, the girl that's also in the Marvels. John Boyega and Jamie Foxx. There's some great stuff in there. Highly suggested if you haven't seen it. Mileage might vary. I think it's like if you can't buy into the premise, because it is a ludicrous premise about like couple guys and a girl seeing their neighborhood. They think people are being cloned. There's like a cloning conspiracy, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. If you can't buy into like the lunacy of that, you might not love it as much as I did, but I really liked it. I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever movie this guy does next. Um, yeah, I'll say that's my favorite movie of the year so far. Like I said, when I'm really hashing things out for my end of the year list, stuff might change. I mean, like you have Oppenheimer, Talk to Me, John Wick 4, then not even counting stuff I haven't seen yet that I think I'm going to love, like Napoleon and Killers of the Flower Moon. So we'll see. But as it stands right now, as of October 15th, I'm going to say They Cloned Tyrone on Netflix. Peter Frost says he agrees. As for future Star Wars content, I really hope they take notes from Ascented Cinema. He made a video on how to film a great duel with lots of great examples. I've never checked that out. I definitely need to watch that. I'll have to see if I can remember that to find that video after this. Because I always love seeing stuff like that. I mean, like, who doesn't love it's honestly, it's a little embarrassing for big companies like Disney, though, when this stuff happens, right? When like you have a YouTuber that like is just a one-man army doing stuff all on their own, and they like make a video about how like this massive multi-billion dollar conglomerate that makes movies could make movies better than they do. Like it's kind of embarrassing, but awesome when like a YouTuber just is like, "Hey, do this, this, and this. I made this fight way better. I made this scene look cooler. I fixed the CGI here." Right? I love when that stuff happens. I don't know if they ever actually take notes, just because like they all they care about is dollar signs. They know the money's going to be rolling in, regardless if they fix fights or not. Like it was the same thing after Quantumania came out, right? Like, I thought Quantumania was fine. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I know there's a lot of people that thought it was, you know, god awful. Um, but I will say that, like, everyone complaining and saying it looked like shit and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, Marvel's not going to do anything unless the box office numbers drop, right? And I mean, like, it still made like what, like 400 or $500 million, I think, or something like that. Like, if movies keep doing that, why are they going to ever take stock and fix stuff that the fans actually are crying out for them to fix? That's the unfortunate part about big movie making and blockbusters. Um, Obviously, in a perfect world, I hope that the keys to the castle get put in the hands of people that are passionate about these IPs, first and foremost, but it doesn't always work out that way. There's a lot of politics and who you know type of business going on in Hollywood. So who knows? But you and me both. I mean, obviously, I would love for the OG lightsaber stuff, like the prequel lightsaber era, to be brought into Disney Star Wars. Um, We'll see if that ever happens. No one will be happier than me if they do. But I mean, like, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan from when I was born up until I was like, I don't know, 25 or something, just because like I still am, but they kind of just like Disney has made me less interested. Like, I didn't even finish the Book of Boba Fett. I didn't watch Mandalorian season 3, and I have not seen Ahsoka. Like I've said, I heard Ahsoka's better than both of those. Um, so I will give it a check and see what it has in store. I mean, I've seen all the spoilers on Twitter and stuff, so I kind of know what to expect at this point. But still, I'll check it out at some point. Ask me a question about music. Are you a fan of the Foo Fighters, the band? I am definitely a fan of the Foo Fighters. My, my first 2 ringtones ever when that was like a thing, it's like not really a thing anymore. And especially because nowadays, since like high school, I think I only have my phone on vibrate. Like I don't even the ring, even if I ever accidentally turned the ringer on in like my pocket or something, it would just be like the standard Apple telephone ring noise. But no one really has ringtones anymore that they buy. I don't know how old you are, but buying ringtones back in the day was like a big thing. And like what your ringtone was said a lot about you. So when I had like my Razor flip phone or whatever, my 2 ringtones that I bought were Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters and Into Club by 50 Cent. So do with that information what you will. But yes, to answer your question, I am definitely a fan of the Foo Fighters. And, you know what? I didn't hate their horror movie too. I don't know if you saw that. They came out with that horror movie. It was like Studio 666 that came out like last year or something. It's like I'm never gonna watch it again. The acting's terrible because it's a band acting. They're not actors, they're musicians, but like yeah, no, I don't know. It was enjoyable enough for a one-time watch. Our cool reviews coming back in again. What is up, dude? Thank you for popping in again. Popping in to say congrats on hitting 3K. You deserve it and then some. Well, thank you so much for saying that, man. I appreciate that. The YouTube stuff's definitely a grind, but I just love talking movies. So it's fun. It's fun getting on here and talking with you guys, whether it be on live streams, my reviews, whatever. You've been out there grinding too. Don't think I haven't noticed that and seeing all your stuff. I think I just saw. Did you just put out a one for the Taylor Swift movie? I haven't watched your video yet, but I think I saw that you put out a little video on that. I'll have to check that out later on. But no, I appreciate you hopping on here, man, and always giving me some kind words. Definitely noted and appreciated. So thank you so much. Favorite Foo Fighters song? I don't know if I can just say one. I might have to say a couple. So Learn to Fly, maybe The Pretender, and Everlong. Maybe I'll go with those three. I think it kind of covers a wide spectrum of their type of musical flair too. I mean, like Everlong. I mean, Everlong is kind of a great example of that just by itself. There are slow parts, there are fast parts, quiet parts, loud parts. Like it changes tempo a lot of times. That's a great song for a reason. It's kind of like a legendary one. But Learn to Fly and more upbeat, more catchy, more poppy. And then the Pretenders just kind of like hardcore. Like it just goes on like a freight train, you know. So I'd probably say those three: Learn to Fly, The Pretender, and Everlong. Those are probably my three favorites. But I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Um, I've been in more of my classic rock phase lately. Listen to a lot of classic rock or like hair metal bands from like the 80s. So I haven't been listening to the Foo Fighters in a little bit, but definitely like them, and they've got a lot of great music, and I loved listening to them when I was growing up. I mean, Dave Grohl is just such a force to be reckoned with. I do listen to Nirvana all the time, obviously, for which he was the drummer. He has some great skills. I think he's one of the best drummers on the planet. Um, and you know, they're a great band. Best music video. Oh my god, I don't know. I think if I remember correctly, that I think I remember that the Pretender music video was actually pretty good. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen that in a while, but you know, I'd have to look back. I don't think I have enough on-hand knowledge of like what their best music video is. Do you have a favorite? I mean, I don't know if there's any that are like epic that I absolutely need to stop and watch. I like don't watch enough music videos. I know that there's a lot of crazy ones out there and they're super entertaining. Um, but I never really watch them anymore. I don't even know if they're any good anymore. Like, you know, they used to be like growing up, there were some incredible ones. Like those ones that were like a mini short film, they almost had nothing to do with the song themselves. Those were great. And usually a lot of people like would film them and then would go on to direct pretty big movies. Like there's a lot of very talented people that start out in the music video scene. Um, but no, I don't know if I have a favorite one. Like I said, I think I remember The Pretender being a pretty good one, but haven't seen it in forever, so don't quote me on it. I don't really remember it. But that'll be my answer for now. So, been going for like an hour, 20 minutes. Probably gonna wrap this up in like 10 minutes at like 9:30 Eastern time. If anyone else has any other questions or anything, I'll stick around. But until then, I guess I'll just kind of like mindlessly ramble about movies and whatnot. You know, why not? Um, I'm thinking like, you know, someone asked me earlier what my favorite movie of the year so far is. I guess I can think about like what was my least favorite movies of the year so far. I'll give you my top 5 least favorite movies of the year so far. Your Place or Mine on Netflix with Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon. Just terrible. About like a long distance kind of will they won't they relationship, and they were never on set together, so there's no chemistry. Do not watch that movie unless you like. It's not even good for a laugh. It's not even bad enough for a laugh, unfortunately. Next one's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I don't even know if I need to explain that one as to why, but it was not good. And that's coming from me that's a huge horror fan. So, Shotgun Wedding, Josh Duhamel and Jennifer Lopez. Um, Basically just a ripoff of The Lost City. Um, Not good on Prime, I think. It's better than Your Place or Mine, but don't expect much. Next one is Meg 2 The Trench. Like I said, I love the first Meg movie. I love Jason Statham. This movie was like a shark movie that had no sharks. I don't even know how you do that. I don't even know how that got greenlit. Whatever. And then rounding it out is Retribution with Liam Neeson. The one where he's like, it's like a speed thriller where he's in the car and there's a bomb underneath his seat and he's got his kids in the car. You've seen it all before. It has a terrible ending, like an ending that almost like made me stand up in the theater over a Liam Neeson cheap thriller. I was like, what the hell is happening? Really not good. So that rounds out my top 5. Well, I guess I should call them my bottom 5. My bottom 5 of 2023. So far, there unfortunately is still a couple months left for some stinkers. We'll see. Hope not though. Hope nothing gets on that list. ask you questions about music now. Let me ask you this. What do you think is a bad song with a cool music video? Well, let me remind myself of what has the coolest music videos. So that way I can see if there's any songs that I hate on that list. Um, let's see. There's a lot of great music videos out there. Um, so there has to be some great music videos to terrible songs. All right, let's see. I'll say this right off the bat. I don't have a specific answer for you, but I really am one of those guys that I'm not a Radiohead fan. I'm really not a Radiohead fan outside of like the couple big smash hits that are used in like every movie ever. I'm sure knowing them that they have some great music videos. So probably my answer would probably be like a Radiohead video. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I'm combing through these right now and seeing if there's any. There's some great songs on here, so I don't know if this is gonna give me what I'm looking for here. Um, Gangnam Style, that's a good answer. Probably like that one that came out a little while ago. That What Does the Fox Say one. That was like a good video, but a terrible song. So that probably fits into the criteria of the question you're asking, most likely. Um, but I don't know. I think those are probably the 2 best answers I can think of. Um, like I said, scrolling through this list and seeing if there's any others that are popping out, but I don't think there are. Maybe something by Radiohead, maybe Gangnam Style, maybe What Does the Fox Say? Those are probably the answers. Those are probably the answers I'm gonna roll with myself, but, um, yeah, I'll lock that in. Those are my 3 answers. Something by Radiohead, which is very vague. I'm sorry about that. Gangnam Style or What Does the Fox Say? That probably has to take the cake, right? Like I don't see what's topping that. Um, and they do have cool videos that go along with them. So, you know, who knows really? Oh man, movie Dean, my guy. He says, "Congrats, Sully. I know I'm newer to your stuff, but I'm already a big fan. What are you most excited about the future with your channel?" Well, I really appreciate that, man. I'm a massive fan of you as well. I love your takes. I think that we would get along pretty well, even though you liked Meg to the Trench. I won't hold that against you. Don't worry. And the production quality of your videos is awesome. If any of you guys haven't checked out Dean, you should check him out. He's got some good stuff over there. What am I most excited about the future with my channel? I don't really know. Like I've thought about some new types of content I want to do, more like evergreen content. So let me know if you have any ideas yourself. But I think about, when I review a movie or a show or do a tier list or whatever, that stuff is really only popular the month that the movie's relevant, right? Like a lot of the times, like, my Scream 5 review from a couple years ago. I don't know how many people are going to randomly just be watching that in 2023, and anytime going forward. So kind of thinking about like movie content I want to make, lists I want to make, tier lists I want to make, rankings, discussions, random recommendations, stuff like that that isn't done in like a time sensitive manner that like will have more staying power. I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm excited to do stuff like that and brainstorm. I did a lot of stuff kind of where I got my start with like movie social media is like during the pandemic, I still have an Instagram, page, same handle, Sully Streams, that got like decently popular for me at least. Where during the pandemic, I would just, since everyone was stuck in the house, I basically suggested every week, I suggested 4 movies. one from each of the major streaming services. So one from Hulu, one from HBO, one from Netflix, one from Prime. Did mini reviews for each one. Similar films to the ones I'm suggesting, why you might like it, my personal score, and did that for many, many weeks before making the transition. Or not the transition, I'm still active on that. I still just post different stuff and different movie stuff. But before making the switch over to starting YouTube long form video reviews so I can actually get my thoughts out and stuff like that, especially since movies started coming out again after the pandemic. But um, maybe incorporating some of that, like a weekly streamer recommendation, something like that. I wouldn't mind doing. I really enjoyed doing that on Instagram, but I'm seeing your next comment right now. Totally hear you. A lot of movie stuff's quickly outdated. Evergreen sounds awesome. Yeah, like I want to find ways how to do that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to nail it down yet. I have some ideas rattling around in the old noodle, but nothing concrete yet. Um, Another thing I kind of want to incorporate is I want to incorporate some Oscar race stuff into my channel. Kind of do updates on where my personal picks are for the Oscar season that's coming up. Again, not totally evergreen, like what I was just talking to you about. It's going to become outdated after the Oscars this year have come and gone, but just another thing I wouldn't kind of mind getting into. Um, I've never really made my thoughts on it all that public or put too much thought into my rankings. I watch the Oscars and have my personal opinions, but never made a video about it. So I kind of want to do something like that, but we'll kind of see what happens next. Um, but yeah, with that, I'll probably call it a day here. I've been going for an hour and a half. I have to watch Big Brother with my fiance after this. She's gotten me into it. I was a massive reality TV guy back in the day, then just like stopped because I was just so obsessed with films that I just didn't have time for reality TV. I've been watching the hell out of Big Brother lately, and I've just gotten sucked back into that reality TV world for better or for worse. I'm completely smitten with it right now. I can't help myself. But thank you again to everybody that joined today. Thank you to everyone that has supported my channel, got me to 3,000 subscribers. It means the world to me. I can't wait to keep pushing forward and making content for you guys, having discussions with you guys, doing more live streams, anything you guys want. I'm happy to make that kind of content related to movies. So, definitely let me know what you want to see, and I'm sure it'll be something that I already do. It's probably already conversations that I have already. I just need to put a camera in front of myself. Um, oh yeah, Dean. Like I said, I'm going to watch Big Brother. You're going to watch Lego Masters. It's the same stuff. The things we do for love. Am I right? Whatever evergreen content you make, I'm sure you'll rock it. Honestly, you're one of the most intelligent voices in movies I've found here. Keep grinding. Well, thank you, dude. I really appreciate you saying that. The feeling's definitely mutual on that. I love the way you articulate your stuff as well. So we might have to get a little collab going there pretty soon. Have a little live discussion about something. I don't know what your like guilty pleasure movie franchise is, but we might have to do something in that realm. But no, I thank you. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. And is there no better time to end the stream when Charlie says that he's officially leaving and to have a good night? What a way to sign off. Thank you again to everyone for being here and adding to those 3,000 subscribers. Um, really appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys at the next one. Hopefully have a review for Killers of the Flower Moon next week. So keep a lookout for that. I cannot wait to see it. And have a great rest of your night. Go watch a movie.